Hello, Dan Harvey for Imagineer Systems here. In this session we're going to take a look in depth at working with shapes in Mocha. Shapes are the foundation of the Mocha workflow and can be animated and tracked for roto or tracked to derive motion data for use in the remove, insert, stabilize and camera solve modules. There are two basic shape types: traditional Bezier splines, which can be edited in the same way as in other applications, or X splines, which are a little more sophisticated. I'll be working with X splines in this session. To close the shape, you can either click on the first vertex, hit the hotkey C, or right click the mouse. Dragging on a control point on an X spline adjusts its tension, and right dragging on control points adjusts tension for the whole shape. Default tension for spline vertices may be set in the preference menu in the system group, and will take effect when Mocha is restarted. When the pick cursor mode is enabled and the transform tool is displayed, contextual position, scale and rotation controls are available for dragging, or the Q, E and W hotkeys can be used. Hold a hotkey and click with the left mouse button to set the center point for the transformation and drag to adjust. The transformation can apply to the entire spline or to selected vertices. Right-clicking the spline when the pick tool is enabled brings up quick menus for editing splines and layers. Now we'll see how shape layer priority is important in Mocha. I'll begin tracking this shape. The cyclist causes an occlusion which affects the track on the taxi. I'll disable tracking on this layer for the moment by clicking off its gear icon in the Layer Properties menu. I'll plot a shape around the cyclist in the layer above. If I click Add X Spline to Layer and plot another shape inside this shape, it'll cut a hole in it and ignore the pixels in this hole when tracking. I'll show the map for this layer to illustrate this, and now I'll begin tracking. I'll select the taxi in the layer below, change its matte color and hit the Show Matte button. Buttons with a triangle in the bottom right can be dragged to reveal options. I'll select Track Matte for this layer. The shaded area represents the area where pixels will be used for tracking. The cyclist shape is subtracted from the track matte on the taxi because it's above it in the layer stack. If I reverse their order, the taxi shape is subtracted from the cyclist shape. I'll undo that because the cyclist is nearer to the camera than the taxi. As I've already tracked the cyclist shape, I'll click off the gear icon to disable tracking on this layer. Select and enable the taxi layer and start tracking. Note how the track holds a lot better now that the occluding pixels are excluded from the analysis. If required, I can animate my roto to refine it. Auto key is enabled, so keyframes are set whenever I adjust my shape. As a rule, the shape nearest the camera should always be at the bottom of the shape stack, and the furthest from the camera should be at the top. I'll right click and select all points with the contextual menu and switch to the Edge Properties tab for this shape and set a feather amount for the edges. Now I can export my shape in a variety of third-party formats if required. I'm currently working in the standalone version of Mocha Pro, but Mocha Pro is also available as a plugin for a range of hosts including Avid, Adobe, Resolve and more. A subset of Mocha is also available in the Pixel Chooser module of the Avid OFX family of plugins for a range of host applications. I'd like to use this Mocha setup in another application, so I'll go to the File menu and save my project. Mocha projects are compatible across all host applications and operating systems. I'll move over to After Effects, duplicate my video track, add a color corrector and apply a contrasty grade to the shot. I'll select the Mocha Pro plugin from the effects list. I'll launch the Mocha UI and select Merge Project from the File menu in order to load the Mocha project that I saved earlier. Now I'll show all mattes, select the cyclist layer, switch to the Layer Properties tab and change the layer mode to Subtract so that it cuts a hole in the taxi shape in Mocha's matte output. I'll hit Save and exit back to After Effects. In the effects settings, I can display the matte from Mocha and apply it to my composition. Now my colour corrected layer in V2 is comped over the original in V1. In the next shot I've drawn a shape I'd like to use elsewhere. Commonly used shapes can be gathered into Mocha projects for use as quick templates. I'll add this circle to my shape library and from the File menu select Export Project and save it to my desktop. In Avid I've got my background plate in V2 and my foreground plate in V1. I'll apply the Mocha Pro plugin to V2 and launch the UI. I'll merge in my Shapes project, disable the unwanted shapes, select my circle, align it, align the layer's surface tool to define the plane and begin tracking. Now that I've captured the track data from the area containing some picture detail, I'll tighten up my shape for use in the composition. Now I'll switch to the Layered Properties tab and select the foreground plate in V1 as my insert clip. I'll switch to the Insert menu and the Comp tab. Here I can select shape layers to use as masks for the insert. I'll apply the circle layer as a mask. In the Insert menu's Transform tab I can scale and align my insert clip and fine-tune perspective by adjusting the corners of the planar surface. I'll save and exit back to Avid. As with other host applications, I can display the matte from Mocha and apply it in the effect settings. I can also render the output from Mocha directly to the Avid timeline. I'll twirl open the module renders options, select the Insert Render Output and check the render box. In this example I'll apply the BCC Beauty Studio effect to a video track in Adobe Premiere. The Pixel Chooser module is available in all BCC tools to isolate the effect. The Pixel Chooser consists of two components, a key and a shape. In this case the default key setting for a European flesh tone gets us quite close to the required selection, but I'd like to apply the effect just to the face here, so I'll further isolate it by creating a Mocha shape and tracking it. I'll launch the Mocha UI. Now I'll merge in my face preset library, select the face preset, tweak it and track. I'll save the Mocha project and exit, view the matte and apply a little feathering in context. A preset library saved on a memory stick or shared storage can prove to be a time saver when working in Mocha. We've compiled a few examples from this session. I'll merge them into an empty Mocha project. Shape collections can be organised into groups which act like subfolders and be collectively enabled or hidden as required. The shape group contains simple geometric shapes. The face group comprises a single shape for a face and individual shapes for each of the features. In the lighting group there are examples of lighting and shading tools like vignettes and spotlights. I'm going to work with the shimmer preset shape here and show how shape layers can interact with each other in the layer stack. Above the layer with the shimmer preset I'll add a layer for the upper window pane. I'll add a spline to the same layer for the lower window pane. Now I'll enable Show Matte for all layers. By default, all mattes are added together and may be applied to the composition in the host application in the timeline or selected individually. If I change the mode of the Windows layer to Subtract, the windows are subtracted from the mask. If I invert the Windows layer, the mask is now defined by the intersection of the shimmer preset and the Windows shape. The small library of presets we've seen in this session can be downloaded from the link shown here. We hope you have fun adding to it. Thanks for watching. For more tips and tutorials on Mocha for a wide range of host applications, check out the videos at imagineersystems.com.